Yeah. Well, I have, and this is all credit to the animators. There's a scene where Frank is talking to Greg in the gym, and Greg is, Frank is talking to Greg, but Frank's doing all these ridiculous stretches that are, almost like too comical. And that's something that was not on the page at all. It's something that the animators brought to life, and I give all credit to them.
Oh my goodness. Watching these films just brings me back. My daughter's a teenager now, but really, really loved the books. And so
Uh,
to be able to see, what Greg gets into,
yeah,
on screen is just like it's like a homecoming to me in a way. So
that's cool.
congratulations.
That's cool. I like that the movies are comfort food. That's cool.
And it's funny because as an adult, like seeing what I like about this film is seeing both sides, like Frank's perspective and Greg's perspective. So I'd love to know when you were adapting this, what was the one father-son moment that you knew absolutely had to make it into the movie, or it wouldn't feel like the last straw anymore?
I would say that was the opening scene where Greg's father finds out that Greg doesn't know how to use a key because that happened to me in real life where my 11 or 12-year-old son, I don't think he'd ever used a key because he just never had a reason to go into the house in that way, which sounds absolutely ridiculous, especially me as a latchkey child. But it was, I remember when I told Disney about that experience, they said, "Oh yeah, you gotta put that in the movie." And it's so funny. Like last night, I watched a movie sitting next to my son, and seeing that scene play out was really funny.
I mean, obviously it is for kids, but I'll tell you, like, you hit so many things like on the head of like the themes of as a parent, you want to make sure that, you were educating your kids, getting them ready for real life. But what made me really laugh was the threat of military school because
Right.
I've definitely done that. So I'd like to know, how do you decide, how do you push, that sort of limit without making that sort of threat too scary for kids, but also
Yeah.
kind of relatable, for a parent who ever thought, oh, you must be overreacting?
I wasn't sure how to do that, and I was actually really nervous about that because it's like, yeah, if a parent is like threatening their kid with military, academy, do you still have a comedy? And I think that the way we achieved it is in the movie, like the threat of Spag Union is so comical and so over the top that it can't really happen. So I think that that helps because it would be a different kind of movie if Greg was, if we were actually terrified for Greg.
I think my daughter would have been like, I think I want to go to that military school.
There he is.
So, you obviously just shared that, you did take the opening scene from something that happened to you in real life. But were there other actual parenting moments that you also included in the movie?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot. I went camping with my father on a father-son camp out and things like that. But I think it's just that central feeling of us as parents wanting to make sure that our kids are prepared for the world and that everything we do is out of love, right? And I think that Frank, even though he's threatening his son with military academy, it's because he feels like he has no other choice. And that's mostly because he feels that he's failed as a parent. And so I think I'm trying to get at, even though this is a comedy, I'm trying to get at some real truths behind parenting, and hopefully they're resonating.
It did.
Thank you. That's awesome.
It did. So, Greg's drama plays out, in these perfectly like deadpan sort of doodles, but in
Yeah.
animation, you get, timing, color, music, and, the acting. So I would love to know what's a gag that you wrote on the page that actually got funnier once you saw it animated.
Yeah. Well, I have, and this is all credit to the animators. There's a scene where Frank is talking to Greg in the gym, and Frank is talking to Greg, but Frank's doing all these ridiculous stretches that are, almost like too comical. And that's something that was not on the page at all. It's something that the animators brought to life, and I give all credit to them.
Is this sort of therapy for you, sort of writing these
I
stories and like it's kind of you kind of letting it out, and it's if it is, it's a great way of like doing therapy. Maybe a little less expensive, I'm not sure, but is it?
yeah.
in
Yeah,
a way?
definitely. Like when I meet with the Disney team, we're always sharing our stories of being parents, and that key scene in particular, I told everybody about it, and they were like, "Yeah, yeah, you got to put that in the movie. You got to put that right in the movie." And so it's like I think a lot of times, like we're taking the things that we've experienced as parents and then putting them onto film, which is I think what makes them feel like a little bit more specific and more resonant.
Well, it was fantastic. I as a older woman very much enjoyed it.
I appreciate that, and I'm
So
glad.
I'm out of time, but congratulations. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you for your encouragement. I really appreciate it.
Of course.